Hello everybody, Cody here, Bossposes. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use my new add-on AFTERBLEND. First I'm going to show you how to install this very quickly, and then I'm going to explain how this works, and then we're going to get into the tutorial. So the first thing you're going to do once you download the zip file is go into your edit. You're going to go to Preferences. You're going to click this little drop down right here. This is where it is in Blender 4.5, install from disk, and you'll get this right here, AFTERBLEND. Just make sure you check mark that, hit save preferences, and then when you press N on your keyboard, you're going to get this little panel that pops up, and you're going to find this tab down here called VFX. That's where the add-on's going to be, and we're going to be looking at this today. So I'm going to explain a few things here very quickly. So the auto compositing button, you don't need to click this yet. You can set it up now if you want, but this is going to add all the nodes for you, so you don't have to go in, search for it, make up tutorials. I'm going to just show you how to connect it. You connect it, and you're ready to render out. This works best with phone footage, so I love making shorts with VFX and stuff, so I figured I'd go in and I'd just make a few options right here so we can divide our focal length, and I'll show you the reason why I have that later. This is for phones only. If you're just doing a landscape shot, you do not need to worry about this. Just paste your focal length in and you're good to go. But then this just basically divides it by 1.7778 just in one button to remove confusion from having to go into everything. Okay, so the first thing we're obviously going to do is go into After Effects, and we're going to start motion tracking our video, because we do need to use the free After Effects tracker that's built into it. You can use the free version as well, because we're not actually saving the project in After Effects. We're just copying the tracks and then importing them into Blender with just a couple buttons. This is a lot easier than you think it is, so just follow along and everything will be all good. So let's jump over into After Effects now. Alright, once I have After Effects open, this is what it's going to look like when you start a new project. What we want to do is hit New Composition from Footage, and then we're going to find the footage that we want to motion track. In this case, I got it on my desktop. Again, this is phone footage, so it is going to be 1080 by 1920, or you could do 1920 by 1080. It's totally up to you. Just make sure you remember what your video resolution is, and I'll also show you how to find that. If you can't, you just click your composition here, and you go to Composition Settings, and it'll tell you your resolution. That way you can just get that over into Blender. But the first thing we're going to do after we import our footage, all we have to do is get the tracker in. So we're just going to go into the effects tray there, and we're going to type track. Whoop. And you're going to see this right here. This is free for every single version of After Effects since like 2015. So if you don't have it, you're probably typing it wrong, but you want to find the 3D camera tracker, and we're just going to click and drag that onto our footage, and we're just going to wait for this to finish analyzing, and it's going to give us a point cloud to work with, and I'll show you what that is when this is finished, and I'll return when this is done analyzing. Alright, once our motion track is done, it's going to look something like this. If you hover your mouse over the video, you're going to get a target that looks something like this. We want to keep note that the first one we want to add, we want to keep it to, near the center and on the as flat as possible to whatever it is we're trying to track, and that's only for the first one. Whatever one after, it doesn't really matter, and the reason for that is the first one adds an origin and a shape, and the other ones after just add a shape. Okay, and to do that, once you find a spot, you're just gonna left click, you're gonna right click, and then you're just gonna click create solid in camera, and then that's it, and that's all you have to do inside of After Effects, and we're good to go to get that into Blender already. But I'm gonna add one more further into the video. So if I play the head forward on the timeline here, you'll notice that that is perfectly motion tracked, and we're gonna get all of this into Blender very easily. So I want to have one here as well, or I could put one further up here on the road just in case I want to add like a car coming out of the garage or something. It gives me the more ability to have depth in the video, just so I can snap things to it inside of Blender, and we can also use these shapes inside of Blender as shadow catchers for whatever object that we're using, right? Okay, so now that we have two motion track planes, we are absolutely finished with After Effects, and you are done. So the next thing we have to do is actually start getting all of this data over into Blender, and to do that, what you want to do is come down into your timeline in After Effects here. You want to click the drop down arrow next to your 3D camera tracker. You want to click the drop down arrow next to the transform, and whatever is blue here, we're going to copy. Okay, so we're going to click this, we're going to hold shift, and then we're going to click the orientation, and then Control C to copy, and then we're going to go over into Blender. We're going to delete whatever camera's here already. So if I just press A and remove everything, Now with everything copied from After Effects, we just have to go into the add-on and click this button right here that says Import AE Camera. And once I do that, you'll notice that all of our keyframes have been imported from After Effects into Blender. And if I press Insert on my keyboard, we'll go into the camera. If you notice now that I'm inside of the camera, and if I play it back, you'll notice that we are completely motion tracked already, except we have the wrong resolution, so let's just fix that really quickly. So mine is backwards from this, so mine is 1080 by 1920. Alright, now that that's set to the correct resolution as it is in my video, we're just going to import the video really quick in all of the settings. We're just going to do the camera first. So let's just click the camera so it does highlight around the outside. We're going to click the camera properties. We're going to enable images, add image, change this to movie clip, hit open, and then find the movie clip that we motion track there in After Effects. If you're on frame 0, it may come up pink, but if you're on frame 1 in your timeline, you'll get a full video like this, and you see that we do have the motion track camera. Everything looks as normal, but we need to do one more thing, is get the focal length in from the camera. And to do that, we go back into After Effects, we double click the camera tracker, we click the focal length right down here, we hit copy, so Control C, hit cancel on that window, back into Blender, paste that into the focal length. Whoops, I accidentally pasted the wrong one, so let me just grab that one more time. So copy, close, and then we're going to paste that in here. Okay, so we got the focal length, and to do one more thing, we have to hit this portrait foam button below it just to snap everything evenly to the plane. But first I'm going to show you, you can click that right now, but what I'm going to do is just import the trackers to show you why I'm clicking that. And to import the trackers is going to be the same way. We go into After Effects, we're just going to minimize the camera tracker. We're going to find our first tracker, so the pink one. I'm going to go into my transform, except this we're going to hit from the anchor point all the way down to the bottom rotation. Control C, copy, go back into Blender, and then click this right above the Import AE Camera. It says AE Track Shape. We're going to import that there. And this is what I'm talking about, how it doesn't look exactly perfect. It is kind of floating above the ground. But if I am to hit this Portrait Phone Only button, you'll notice that it fixes everything. And that just divides your focal length by 1.7778. And that's why I said you could go ahead and do that early if you really want. But as you see now, we have a completely motion track scene. And if you are just using stable footage, you're good to go for animating right now. You can add whatever you want on top of that. But I do have one more tracker I want to import that's a little bit further back in the scene. So I'm going to show you how to grab this one more time. So I'm just going to close up this tracker, open this tracker's transform, click anchor point, go down to rotation, Control C, go back into Blender, import AE shape, and as you see, it did import way back there in the background. And if I go further in my timeline, we're just gonna up our frames a little bit. You'll notice that our plane is right here, and it does get closer as we go, and it is perfectly motion tracked to the scene, as you see. And another thing I recommend is if you're using a Samsung Galaxy phone, notice how my footage is slightly slow. That's just because of my FPS is still on 24. If I were to change this to say 45, you may see a much more noticeable difference, and it looks more like natural footage, and everything is perfectly locked to its tracker, and they do not come loose. So you are good to go for animation already. I have tutorials on my channel for turning these into shadow catchers. They're very easy to do. So if you have an object above it, like we're going to add now. So what I want is a Sonic model. So I'm going to import a Sonic model I have from Source Filmmaker. So I'm just going to set my origin point to that. I'm going to go to Import MDL, go to my MDL folder. Sonic and Metal Blaze. We'll just get Metal Blaze in there. Okay, I'm going to go to Objects, Snap to Cursor, and then we'll just make Blaze a little bit bigger so we can bring in our object. And what I also recommend you do when we go into pose mode is set your orientation to local. Up at the top here where it says default, just set it to local so it moves based off of your camera axis. So if you have this level to the ground, like so, it'll just rotate around the ground without getting all wonky on you and stuff like that. But from the meantime, you're good to go to animate, and if you play the head forward, you'll notice that, you know, it's motion tracked. It's perfect, right? So if we wanted to animate this right now, we could just go into the arms, we'll just put the arms down. Oop. Change that back to local, like so, and I'll just make the head kind of follow us. So if I put it back here and I enable my auto keyframe, you're good to go for animation. So I can just put my head like that, and then when we move closer, you know, she'll kind of move with it. And as you see, she's looking at us now. We can even make her wave if we really wanted to, so we could even put her arm up, down if you really wanted to. So what I usually do is just add all keyframes to that. That way I can just do a really easy one. Whoop. Get some more fluid motion in that. Like that. And as you see, we have an animated figure already inside the scene. You can add UFOs, you can add anything you want, and your textures work automatically, right? So if we go into our shaded mode, you're not going to see anything right away. That's because we have to go into our render properties, come down to film, enable transparency, and now you have transparency, right? But we don't have any lights in the scene. So the beautiful thing about this add-on is it works with everything already, so we can just add an HDR from just about anything. So I just use a Blender kit here. So let me just find a free HDR to pop on. We'll turn that on, and as you notice, we have world lights, and if I just turn the world lights down a little bit like that, we can even go in and add our own lights. So we'll add a sun. The shadows do face the other way, and like I said, we can turn this plane into a shadow catcher so it's transparent, because if we take the plane away, you notice she has no shadows below her, but she does have that shadow, so we can use this as a shadow catcher. So go check out my shadow catcher for Eevee tutorial on there, and there's plenty of tutorials on making shadow catchers very easily in Cycles. But anyway, since we're done our animation right here, I'm going to show you how to composite this very easily inside the add-on. So let's go back to the add-on here. I added an auto switch to composite button. What this is going to do is also add nodes to your scene, and that's going to allow you just to connect everything so you can render it. So remember to enable transparency here. Let's set up some other render options very quickly. So I have this reset just for the sake of the tutorial. Let's change this to FFmpeg. Let's change our encoding, or sorry, our video codec to QuickTime, and then this to MP4, and then switch this below file format to RGBA. That way it renders both layers on top of each other. Now we're good to go for compositing. So if you're ready to render, just click that button. It's going to open it, and I'll show you how to set this up. So all you're going to do is drag your movie clip down here. You're going to drag your alpha over here. You're going to bring this into this slot. You're just going to cross these like this from the top to the bottom, and you're going to drag this right into that center pin like that. And right here, you click this little drop down, select your video clip, and you'll see it in the background. Now you're good to render. All you have to do is render your video, and you'll have an MP4 with your VFX motion track footage right on it. I will release more and more advanced tutorials on how to do this with shadow catchers and stuff, but for the sake of just the add-on release, that's today's tutorial. You're all ready to go animate right now. Go check out that shadow catcher tutorial. Go make a composite and show me what you can do with this add-on. I'm really happy to release this to you all today, so thank you all for tuning in. If you like today's video, please do like and subscribe. It helps me out so much, and I will see you all soon. Take care.